The Gentrys, Keep On Dancing, 1965. Memphis, 1965. A garage band of white teenagers recorded a song in a tiny studio on Summer Avenue. The Gentrys were led by Larry Raspberry and Jimmy Hart. They'd been playing frat parties and sock hops around Memphis. But Keep On Dancing was their own, raw, energetic, with a driving beat that wouldn't quit. The song was recorded at T. Tommy Cutra's studio for less than $100. No frills, no studio trickery. Local DJ George Klein heard it and started playing it on WHBQ. The phones lit up. Suddenly, national labels came calling. MGM Records signed the Gentrys and released Keep On Dancing nationally in August 1965. It shot up the charts. Number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 8 on the R&B chart. Over 1 million copies sold. For a group of Memphis teenagers, it was surreal. They appeared on national television. Toured with major acts, living the dream. But the Gentrys couldn't follow it up. Their next single barely cracked the top 100. By 1970, they'd disbanded. Larry Raspberry continued in music for years. Jimmy Hart became a legendary wrestling manager for WWE, but the Gentrys themselves? A footnote in Memphis music history. 9. Dobie Gray, The In Crowd, 1965. Los Angeles, 1965. A young singer named Dobie Gray walked into a recording studio to cut a cover of a song written by Billy Page. The In Crowd had already been recorded as an instrumental.
Who could wish to join the In Crowd? He turned it into a giant hit recording and earned himself a...
Ramsey Lewis would later turn it into a jazz classic. But Dobie Gray's version was different. It had swagger, confidence, soul. Gray's delivery was effortless. I'm in with the In Crowd. I go where the In Crowd goes. The horns punched, the rhythm section locked in tight. His voice soared over it all, equal parts smooth and gritty. Released in early 1965, the In Crowd climbed to number 13 on the Hot 100, number 1 on the R&B chart for 4 weeks. Dobie Gray had arrived, or so it seemed, except follow-up singles failed to chart. For years, nothing clicked. I'm in with the In Crowd. Then, in 1973, 8 years after the In Crowd, lightning struck again. Drift Away became a massive hit, reaching number 5 on the Hot 100. But by then, most people had forgotten Dobie Gray existed. I'm in with the In Crowd. He continued recording through the 90s, but to mainstream audiences, he remained that guy who sang 2 hits, 8 years apart. In between, silence. The In Crowd remains the perfect snapshot of mid-60s cool. A song about belonging that never quite belonged to its singer. It's easy to find romance. 8. The Orlons, The Wah-Wah-Tusi, 1962. Philadelphia, 1962. 4 teenagers from Overbrook High School were about to create one of the year's biggest dance crazes. The Orlons were Rosetta Hightower, Shirley Brickley, Marlena Davis, and Stephen Caldwell. They'd been singing together since high school. Cameo Parkway Records signed them in 1961. Their first single, The Wah-Wah-Tusi, was released in early 1962. The song was built around the Watusi, a dance craze sweeping the nation, but the Orlons added their own twist, the wah sound. call and response vocals, Rosetta Hightower's powerful lead, the song exploded. Number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 5 on the R&B chart. It sold over 1 million copies. Their follow-up, Don't Hang Up, hit number 4. South Street reached number 3. For 2 years, the Orlons were hitmakers, but after 1963, the hits stopped coming. The British invasion changed everything. American R&B groups struggled to compete. They disbanded in the late 60s. In 2014, Rosetta Hightower died after being hit by a car in New Mexico. The Wah Watusi lives on in oldies compilations. The Orlons had their moment. Then the music changed, and they couldn't change with it. 7. Major Lance. 1964. Chicago, 1964. Curtis Mayfield had written a song for his childhood friend, Major Lance, but the song was strange. It had no real ending. The title repeated 6 times, but never appeared again in the song. Producer Carl Davis told Mayfield to rewrite it. Make it about a girl? Love songs sell. Mayfield rewrote the lyrics. What emerged was peculiar, hypnotic. The impressions sang back up. Johnny Pate arranged the horns. Brass sections dominated. The groove was undeniable. Released in January 1964, shot to number 5 on the Hot 100, number 1 on the R&B chart. Major Lance's biggest hit ever. He followed with other hits. The Monkey Time hit number 8. Hey Little Girl reached number 13. On paper, Major Lance wasn't a one-hit wonder. But none of those follow-ups matched the cultural impact of Can't you hear him now? By 1968, the hits had dried up. Lance moved to England, where he was popular on the Northern Soul circuit. In 1978, he was convicted of selling cocaine and spent 4 years in federal prison. 6. Chris Kenner, I Like It Like That, 1961.
The places I like it like that. Now you take Sally and I'll take
New Orleans, 1961. Chris Kenner was a struggling R&B singer with a history of missed opportunities. Born Christmas Day, 1929, Kenner moved to the Big Easy as a teenager. In 1957, he recorded Sick and Tired for Imperial Records. It charted briefly. Then Fats Domino covered it and turned it into a top 40 hit. A pattern was forming. Kenner wrote great songs. Other people had the hits. His struggles with alcohol made him unreliable. Imperial dropped him. But in 1960, everything changed. Kenner signed with Instant Records and began working with producer Alan Toussaint. Their collaboration produced I Like It Like That. Released nationally in early 1961, it became a sensation. It shot to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 2 on the R&B chart, sold over 1 million copies. For a few glorious months, Chris Kenner was a star, then nothing. He kept writing, though. In 1963, he wrote Land of 1,000 Dances. Wilson Pickett's version became the definitive one, a massive hit in 1966. Again, Kenner wrote the classic.
I was down there, I lost my shoes. They had some cat shout.
Someone else got the glory. He died of a heart attack in 1976 at 46 years old, but I Like It Like That never died. And in 1994, 18 years after Kenner's death, Ini Kamoze revived the na-na part in Here Comes the Hot Stepper, which hit #1. Chris Kenner finally got his #1 hit posthumously. 5. The Premiers, Farmer John, 1964.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the Premiers with Farmer John.
Summer 1964. The Beatles dominated. Civil rights protests raged. And in Los Angeles, a garage band of Mexican-American teenagers was about to break through barriers nobody expected. The Premiers were brothers Lawrence and John Perez, plus neighbors George Delgado and Frank Zuniga. They practiced in their backyard in San Gabriel, 15 miles east of Los Angeles. Producer Billy Cardenas suggested they cover Farmer John, originally recorded by R&B duo Don and Dewey in 1959. Do it East LA style, he told them, like Louie Louie.
In San Gabriel? How far away is that from here, say from Hollywood? You know, I look.
They practiced for a few days, then drove to Hollywood to record it. Cardenas added canned crowd noise to make it sound live. The final mix sounded like a party on the verge of total chaos.
Yeah, you heard about that. All right. I wrote it down on a piece of paper in case you didn't know.
Released on Pharaoh Records, then picked up by Warner Brothers, Farmer John shot to #19. The song spent over 2 months on the Billboard Hot 100. At the time,
When you go to the autograph there, have you traveled a lot?
Yeah.
Previous to this?
Mexican-American bands struggled to break through. Farmer John changed that. But the Premier's moment was brief. They released several more singles through 1967. None charted.
It's amazing. We travel so much. I'm doing about 12,000 miles a week right now.
When Lawrence Perez and Frank Zuniga were drafted and sent to Vietnam, the band dissolved. Farmer John lived on. The Premiers opened a door, but they never walked through it themselves.
Buddy, in the entertainment business, do you know where you're going somewhere, or when are you going to be in, say,
4. The Showmen. It Will Stand, 1961.
You might as well claim it.
Norfolk, Virginia, 1961. A group of young men calling themselves the Showmen recorded a rock and roll anthem that would chart twice in 3 years, yet somehow leave them forgotten. It Will Stand
Sinking deep in the heart of man. Come on, boy.
was lead singer Norman Johnson's declaration of faith in rock and roll itself. The lyrics celebrated the music, but Johnson took it further. He borrowed a line from the Gospel of Luke. Forgive them,
Come on, boy, be a man, 'cause rock and roll.
for they know not what they're doing. He was talking about the critics who dismissed rock and roll as a passing fad. The Showmen signed with Minute Records in New Orleans.
Finger popping and stomping feet. Little
Producer Alan Toussaint supervised their sessions. It Will Stand was released in fall 1961. It peaked at #61 on the Hot 100. The song became huge regionally, but never quite broke through nationally. 3 years later,
never know never. It swept this whole wide land.
Imperial Records re-released it. The song charted again, reaching #80, but national success remained elusive. In 1968, Norman Johnson left and moved to Detroit. There, he formed chairman of the board,
Come on, boy, take my hand.
who scored major hits in the early 70s. It Will Stand became a beach music classic. In the Carolinas, it never stopped being played.
Names it. You might as well claim it.
3. The Capitals. Cool Jerk, 1966. Detroit, 1966. In the Motor City's clubs, a sexually suggestive dance called the Pimp Jerk was all the rage. Don Storball of the Capitals saw an opportunity, but he knew radio stations would ban anything with pimp in the title.
88.
So he wrote Cool Jerk instead, a sanitized version that captured the same wild energy without the controversy. The Capitals were unusual for a soul group. All three members played instruments.
Come on, people. Can you do it now?
They'd broken up after their first single flopped. But when Storball finished Cool Jerk, he knew he had something special. Producer Ollie McLaughlin booked Golden World Studios in Detroit. The Funk Brothers,
When I'm gonna show you some of that cool dirt. Now give me a little bit of.
Motown's legendary house band, moonlighted on the session for extra cash. The track had that unmistakable Motown sound. Cool Jerk exploded that summer. Number 7 on the Hot 100. Number 2 on the R&B chart. It was the wildest thing on radio in 1966, a party threatening to spin out of control. But the Capitals released 8 more singles, only 2 charted, neither higher than number 65. In 1969, they broke up for the final time. Samuel George was stabbed to death in a domestic dispute in 1982. Cool Jerk lives on. The Go-Go's covered it, but the Capitals remain forever a one-hit wonder. 2. The Jive 5, My True Story. 1961. In the summer of 1961, 5 kids from Brooklyn stepped up to a microphone with a song born from heartbreak. Eugene Pitt had written My True Story about losing his girlfriend to one of his friends. The melody was simple.
When your lover says goodbye, and then
The emotion was raw. The Jive 5 sang it at the Belltone Studio on Broadway. Lead singer Pitt poured his soul into every word, especially that unforgettable hook. Cry, cry, ye.
she's a wonderful girl, but they must cry.
Record store customers who didn't know the title would walk in wailing, cry, 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 trying to identify the song. Released in 1961, My True Story exploded. It hit number 1 on the R&B charts for 3 weeks, number 3 on the Hot 100.
Here is a story.
The song bridged doo-wop and the emerging soul sound perfectly. It had the harmonies of the 50s with the emotional depth of the 60s. The group followed with minor hits. Nothing came close to matching that debut. Tragically, tenor Jerome Hanna died of pneumonia in 1962. They changed their name multiple times over the years. Eugene Pitt was the constant, leading the group for over 50 years until his death. My True Story remains a doo-wop masterpiece. But the Jive 5 became a footnote. One perfect song, then a lifetime chasing its shadow.
Love will make the tears fall.
1. Ruby and the Romantics. Our Day Will Come. 1963.
It has. Ruby and the Romantics.
In early 1963, a quintet from Akron, Ohio, walked into a New York recording studio with everything to prove. Ruby and the Romantics were nobody's first choice.
If we just wait a while.
When songwriters Bob Hilliard and Mort Garson finished writing Our Day Will Come, they had their hearts set on easy-listening crooner Jack Jones. But Cap Records A&R director Al Stanton made a deal. Let the Romantics try it first. If they failed, Jack Jones would get his turn. 2 versions were cut. One mid-tempo, one with a bossa nova groove, the Bossa Nova 1.
Ruby and the Romantics, and we'll be right back.
On March 23rd, 1963, Our Day Will Come hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It stayed there. dominating both the pop and R&B charts. The Hammond organ solo became iconic. Ruby Nash's lead vocals were pure silk. For a moment, they looked unstoppable. Their follow-up, My Summer Love, reached number 16. Then, the hits stopped coming.
We'll share the joy.
Despite recording steadily through 1966, nothing else connected. By 1969, they had faded from view completely. Our Day Will Come endured, though. Over 200 artists have covered it.
No tears for us.
But Ruby and the Romantics? History reduced them to that one perfect bossa nova ballad. A song originally meant for someone else became their entire legacy.
No one can tell me that I'm
10 artists, 10 songs that burned bright, then faded. Ruby and the Romantics, the Jive Five, the Capitals, the Showmen, the Premiers, Chris Kenner, Major Lance, the Orlons, Dobie Gray, the Gentrys. They gave us moments of pure magic, then vanished without a trace. But their songs, those live forever.